It's not mine, but it's here. Being 5:30, I'll now call to order the regular meeting this July 14th, 2025, in the Government Center of the great town of Lake Placid to order. If everybody would please rise, make sure your phones are either off or on vibrate. We are pleased to have with us tonight a local government minister leader for Capital Ministries in Highlands County, a pastor from Sunshine Christian Fellowship Church, Jason Knoll, who will lead us in our pledge and our invocation.
Just one word of thanks to be here. I'm new in town, and the place where I came from didn't pray before town council meetings, and pastors weren't invited. I appreciate the honor to lead in prayer. Before I pray, I would read from James chapter 1 very briefly. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That man should not think he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does. Let's pray. Lord God, we begin this meeting with thankfulness, recognizing that you, O Lord, are the source who created the world and everything in it. We also remember that wisdom comes from you. It is for this wisdom that we open this meeting in prayer to you. Please grant this council wisdom to make wise decisions regarding our town. We also ask for a spirit of unity in our town, both in our ideas, but also in our shared goal of enjoying a safe and prosperous community. Please guide the discussions today, that they may be thoughtful of you, Lord, and full of self-sacrificial love for each other. Lord, please bless our town of Lake Placid, our state of Florida, and our country, the United States of America. You are God. We praise you. There is no other worthy of praise but you. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Holbrook.
Here.
Councilmember Hayes. Here. Councilmember Worley.
Here.
Councilmember Charles.
Here.
Councilmember Eberhardt.
Here.
Okay, we have a consent agenda 1, A through C.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda 1, A through C.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further comments from the podium?
Just a couple quick questions. On accounts payable, there's a $272,000 to the town of Lake Placid, out of the general fund. Do you know offhand what that is? The SRF grant, because it got cut off at the end, it said SRF. So the SRF money got transferred to the general fund? Is that, I mean, we're going to have, Charlotte, we're going to have a whole discussion on that soon, aren't we? On the SRF balance. That's
Yes, whenever we go into the budgets, budget workshops, we will have the account information that we will present.
No, I thought we still had with the audit firms, they were going to come back and talk to us about the RF monies.
The SRF?
The 760,000 in the ARPA.
ARPA, yes.
Right.
They'll be here
Isn't that
on
what
the
that is?
21st.
So that's... Thank you.
So we got a couple grants going on. So the money goes into the general fund. We have to put it into the grant account to account for those expenses.
Okay. And then on the accounts payable, is there a way to summarize in the packet the payables by the actual total for the vendor? Because it's being split out, I think, by departments that are being allocated to. You see, you can see the same accounts payable, the same invoice, but 3 different times. So you'd have to add it up to see exactly how much did we pay. I think it's just a display of the report. And then that way it can actually allow us to see in any given month how much have we paid in total to that vendor versus trying to find 5 different sections and adding up the same invoice. So it's just, I think it would be an efficiency for us to look at.
We are working on being able to provide an adequate executive summary like you requested at the last meeting. We've been comparing, obviously, to other municipalities to see how they're being able to pull that off. What we have found is that's not something that's typically done in their reporting, and in order for us to be able to do it properly, we would ask that we could provide that on a quarterly basis, because by the time we receive the financials and then we have our staff meeting or our council meeting, there's not enough time for us to properly put together that information for a true executive summary that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you for that, but my question's on the accounts payable section. It's the accounts payable, not the financial, the budget and that.
We can do another
I think it's
report
just the way it's being pulled.
We can do another vendor report just showing per vendor how much was paid per invoice.
Yeah, it's the same thing, it's just, it's going to condense the number of pages too, because it won't show that same vendor, like UNA. The UNA is in there 4 different times. If you want to know how much you paid them, then we got to go add up 4 different times.
Okay. So you don't want the check split, you just want a vendor split.
That's what I assume accounts payable is. This is the accounts payable of the vendors and the amount that we paid this last period.
I just have a question. Why? Why do you want to know how much we pay any one particular vendor? I mean, I'm not really smart at this, so I need a little education.
Well, consent agenda number C is approval of duly authorized monthly bills.
I see that.
So that's accounts payable. That's the vendors.
I know that. But if you're paying the uniform company a certain amount every single week, you want to know how much we pay the uniform company in general, right? Not every single week? Am I understanding that's what you want?
No. The way the report is today, it's being prorated by departments. You don't know how much you paid the uniform company.
But do we care how much we pay the uniform company?
I do, because I'm not going to authorize an accounts payable to a vendor unless I know how much we're going to pay him.
I know you, but you know how much you're going to pay them every single week. Why
No.
is it important how much you pay them over the whole period of time? I just don't understand that.
No, because a lot of them are not weekly payments, and if you look at the report, it's not weekly, it's a monthly report.
I know, I see it, I look at it.
So
I do look at it, I
yeah.
really do.
Yeah. It's monthly report of how much we pay. The way it's displayed is it's broken out by the departments that get that allocation.
And I like to know how much is going into each department, but apparently you want to know how much is going out to each vendor. Are you thinking that we may be paying one particular vendor too much money?
No, I didn't say that.
No, I know, I'm just questioning, I'm just asking.
Let me give the example of the software that we just purchased, right? We came in here and we had I think it was 40,000, Charlotte, for the UNA. And so I would expect when we make that UNA bill to see 40,000. So instead, it's in 4 different spots, 3,000 to this area, 13,000 to this area, 5,000. Don't know how much we paid. And what you're referring to is to see weekly. That would be over in the budget and the actual section. All of that is there. It's just the display. And most municipalities do it. Just here's the total of the payables. And then it would actually be less pages in the report.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of pages, and it seems that everything is in there at least twice. So, you know, I understand what you're saying there, I guess. I
think a good one is the IT services, right? It gets broken up into different, so
yeah.
it's just a better management tool to look at, and I think it's just a display of how it's been pulled from the system. I know the system has that. It's the payables report.
I just have a question for your question, that's all. Thank you.
And then just quickly, the process, so I'm just curious as when the budgets are being overrun during the year, we basically, that's something, Charlotte, you and the mayor are handling, or is that something that just at the end of the year gets trued up, unless it's a capital, because different times staff comes and I want a budget amendment for X, and we've seen that and we approve that. Is that primarily then for capital equipment and infrastructure? I just am curious as the process, because as we continue to look at a lot of these departments, there's some departments that have overrun. And so is that okay? Or is just at the end of the year through the amendment budget process, that's when it gets trued up?
Some of the expenses they get, they can't budget for because they don't know that the well is going to go down. They don't know that the vehicle is going to get crashed. So whenever these things happen, that's when they come back to council as far as replace these items.
Right,
So
and so on the departments that are overrunning their budget, at what point do they come back to council for a budget amendment?
They come back to council when their budget is overexpended, but line items, our budget give room for line item adjustments. So they don't have to come back to council for that, just for when they go over their budget. Like if they say my budget is $120,000, so if you go over the budget, then they need to come back to you.
In total, the budget in total?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Or if we know individually by, we've got a budget amendment here later, that of course is needed. So if we know earlier that we're going to go over the budget, they would come to council for approval prior to that expenditure?
Right,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Any other comments from the podium? Take it to the audience. All right, seeing none, poll the council.
Councilmember Hayes,
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt,
Yes.
Councilmember Worley,
Yes.
Councilmember Charles.
Yes.
All right, next. I asked Charlotte, from time to time, there's things I think need to come before the public. So we've talked about the mayor's comments, and for a better phrase, we just come up with mayor's report. So from time to time, I just want to give a brief overview of things that have maybe happened or things that are going to happen, just to try to keep the public a little more up to date in what's going on. And you've heard me say in the past that I consider us up here as a family. You'll be hearing me use the term team a lot, and that's what I mean by us as a family. Nothing can get done as an individual, with myself, with Charlotte, any of the council members, or any of the residents. Everything has to be done as a team or a family, and you'll be hearing me use that term a lot tonight and probably in the future. So I just want to take a few minutes and first of all thank those of you who are here for being here and showing an interest in our town and our government and the way things are run. Because we're all here for one thing. That's to make Placid a better place to live and to feel like a place to have a great home. First thing we'll talk about is the downtown plans. You've all seen what's happened on North Main Street and South Main Street, and we've been working on a downtown master plan, and that's just a guide to make downtown more accretive, walkable, and inviting. And we want to support our local businesses and improve how things look, and that's what's being done, and give people more reason to enjoy Lake Placid, all while keeping our small town charm. The council and the town citizens, we want you to stay involved and helping us shape that plan. Next is planning for the future. We're now taking part in the county's comprehensive plan update, and we're also getting ready to work on our own town's plan. That just means we're looking ahead at how we want Lake Placid to grow and what we need to plan for. As an example, housing, roads, parks, I know has been talked about, and more. This is something we're doing together with council and staff, and it'll help us make good choices as things change in the years to come. Utility planning. We've been working closely with the Regional Utility Board as we get closer to opening the new wastewater treatment plant. That's going to be a big deal and will help us improve services and plan for growth. We're working on this there again as a group and making sure we're thinking ahead and planning to serve the community the right way. Land development rules. Another thing we're doing is updating our land development code. That's basically the rule book for where and how things can be built. We want to make sure the rules make sense and that future development still fits with the look and feel of the town of Lake Placid. One of the things that I think is very important is our sign ordinance. I think we need to take another look at that and do a bit of tweaking here and there. The local planning agency will be working through the process in order to bring recommendations to us, the town council, for further review and considerations of changes as we get focused on doing things the right way. It's very important that we keep the hometown feel. I know people are worried about too much change, but let's be clear, we're not trying to turn Lake Placid into a big city. We just want to plan smart, protect what matters, like our lakes, our canals, and make sure that this stays, as it is right now, a great place to live. We're doing everything we can to keep that small town friendly feel while still improving where we can, and we're doing it as a team. Budget and services. Now, as we head into the budget season, some folks have asked about the idea of contracting out certain town services. We'll be talking about that during the budget workshops, where each council member will have the chance to bring ideas forward. Nothing's been decided yet, but if there are good options, we'll look at them carefully and talk it through as a council. We just want what's best for the town and the people we serve. Fireworks. We have a thank you letter here that I'm going to have Charlotte read in a minute. And just today we got this letter and a photo from a visitor who watched our 4th of July fireworks from her uncle's home on Lake June. She said the show was incredible and she wanted to thank the town. She even sent a beautiful 8x10 photo she took that night. And that kind of appreciation means a lot. And we're going to try to put this on, I don't know, on our webpage or somewhere, because that is such a beautiful picture that I think represents one of the things that Lake Placid does best. And now I'm going to ask our town administrator to please read the letter that she sent.
Dear Mayor, I wanted to take a moment to personally thank you and the town of Lake Placid for putting on such an incredible fireworks display this year. It was absolutely spectacular, and my family and I were blown away by the show. We've been coming out to Lake Placid every year since we were kids to watch the fireworks from my uncle's house on Lake June. It's a tradition we look forward to and treasure deeply. Each year it brings us joy, but this year's display was especially impressive. The colors, timing, and excitement were unforgettable. I have enclosed a photo that I took of my uncle's deck on Lake June. Thank you again, Dana.
Okay. If anybody'd like to see the letter or the photo, we do have it available. Okay. And I want to thank all the staff, volunteers, and council who help make the fireworks what they are. And there again, we don't do these things alone. It's a full team effort, and the JCs lead the charge. They have been in charge of the fireworks for as long as I can remember. So they do a great job for the town every year. All right, now for a little bit of bad news, grant funding update. We were recently told that the state granting fund for utility expansion has been frozen for this year. Yeah, that's tough news, but we are not giving up, and council is already working with staff to look for other funding options and stay on track with our goals. We are in constant communication with the powers that be, and as money comes available, you can bet we're going to be applying for it. And again, before I wrap up, I just want to thank each and every one of our citizens and council members and staff for the caring and love that you give to our town. Whether you come to the meetings or just check in with questions, you're part of what makes Lake Placid great. As your mayor, I'm always here if you need me, as well as the town council members and staff. If you ever have a question, all you need to do is come see one of us. If we don't have the answer, we will darn sure get it for you. Council member as a team are working together, and we're proud to be serving our community. And I hope we can keep working as a team, because that's the only thing that's going to make Placid a place that we're all proud and able to call home. Thank you for listening. Okay. Now, presentations and citizens on the agenda. First of all, in the presentations, I want to put a big thank you out to the county for what they did on West Interlake. The road there was in deplorable shape. They came out several times and put Band-Aids on it, and they finally came out, milled it, repaved it, and it's just a much safer and better area. We've got other areas of concerns that we're going to be working on in the future, but at least that one is now finished, and I just want to thank the county, go on record as thanking the county for what they did. Okay. Also, Alan, would you please stand up? As of July 5th, Alan just started his 21st year as our team. To me, that means a lot when you can keep your employees for that long. We have a great staff. I appreciate everything they do. And as I see them around town, I always stop and tell them how much I appreciate them. And I hope you all will do the same.
Can I just add on, at the budget meeting this week with Highlands County, afterwards, Lori Hummer said, Alan is an awesome employee. You have an awesome employee down there, and called out Alan. So I just want to add to not just the seniority, but for 21 years being an awesome employee. You're really a role model for a lot of other people, and we thank you.
Thank you for those. Appreciate you, Alan. Okay. All right. I have nothing on citizens on the agenda. Is there anybody that would like to say a few words? If not, we will continue. All right. New business, I don't have any any agenda items. So I guess we'll go on to 7D1, the proposed millage. Our town administrator is going to go down below.
Apologize, bear with us just a moment. So before we get into the specifics of the millage rate and financial outlook, I think it's important to ground our discussion in the mission of our Budget and Finance Department. So tonight we're going to look at the millage rate history, the trends, and the recommendations. The mission statement for Budget and Finance is on the screen. Everything we do, from preparing the budget to managing expenses and reporting to the public, it is all guided by this commitment to operate transparently, in full compliance with state law, and with the highest level of fiscal responsibility. This is not just about numbers, it's about building public trust. Every dollar that we manage is a dollar entrusted to us by the residents of the town of Lake Placid. Our goal is to ensure that our budget reflects both our community's priorities and our values of accountability, integrity, and prudence. Tonight's presentation, including the proposed millage options, is part of that mission, helping ensure that we have the resources needed to continue providing the services to our residents, the residents who rely on all of the services while being thoughtful and responsible stewards of public funds. Okay, I've gone too far, and it won't let me go back. So bear with me just a moment. Third slide, if you can get it there, Leanne. Oh, I see it now. Thank you. I don't know about y'all, but even with glasses on, I cannot see that little arrow up there in the corner of that screen. Thank you. I see it now. Thank you, ma'am. So as we walk through this budget development process, I want to emphasize that this is not a static plan. The proposed budget we begin with will absolutely evolve based on council's feedback and the community input. As mentioned in the mayor's opening remarks, there have been discussions about the potential to contract out certain services in the future. And those are important conversations, but they also require broader planning, coordination, and policy development before any transitions can occur. For the purposes of this budget cycle, we are continuing to plan based on the services that we currently provide in-house, which include police, sanitation, water, wastewater, parks and recreation, among a lot of other things that we do in the town. But these are our key operational realities, and we must budget accordingly to keep these services running at the level that residents expect. Looking forward, we will be identifying areas where local government policies, including procurement practices, fee structures, and cost controls, can be established or improved to help us address the long-term impacts of inflation and ensure the financial sustainability for the town of Lake Placid. This process is designed to be very responsive, transparent, and forward-thinking, with your direction as council and the voices of our residents guiding it along the way. So as we work through the budget, it's important to understand and consider the broader context that shapes our decisions. 5 key factors influence our financial outlook. As you can see on the screen, economic conditions with rising inflation and labor costs are driving up expenses across all departments, from fuel to insurance to equipment. Our growth. As Lake Placid and Highlands County grow, the demand on our infrastructure, our utilities, our roads, our parks, and public safety, it all increases. Community needs. Residents expect reliable services, safe neighborhoods, and well-maintained public spaces. Our budget must reflect those priorities. Legislative mandates and funding cuts. State mandates like the House Bill 1379, which is our advanced wastewater treatment plant where we received our grant to be able to expand. As the mayor mentioned earlier, that has been cut and we will not be able to apply for grants for this fiscal year. We were also made aware whenever Ms. Lori Herner from the county came and presented their budget last week that we also have experienced in our county as a whole cutbacks from funding from FDOT. Funding cuts directly affect how quickly we can move forward with any of our utility and infrastructure projects. Even with the $40 million grant that we received, we still have to plan strategically on how we'll continue with that project. Our strategic priorities. This budget isn't just about balancing numbers. It's about moving the town of Lake Placid forward in ways that will preserve our small town charm while strengthening the essential services that we provide. General trends. The town of Lake Placid is on the radar for new investments, and just recently we see this with Project Crave, more currently known as the Amazon Project. That project and development is anticipated to bring in 200 new jobs to this area. That kind of development is a clear signal that we are positioned for growth in the town of Lake Placid, and people are paying attention to what our town has to offer. We work closely with the County Economic Development Office on ways that we can grow and expand, and we have a meeting scheduled with them next week. With growth comes opportunity, increased tax base, new businesses, and the chance to strengthen our economy. But it also brings the pressure on our services. More traffic means more wear on the roads. More homes mean more demand on our water, sewer, and sanitation. More families mean greater need for parks and the public spaces, and also for public safety. Our population is expected to grow gradually, and while it may not be explosive, even slow growth puts consistent strain on our infrastructure. As a result, our budget must be proactive and not reactive, and that's what we really want to get ahead of, is that we don't want to keep reacting to the things that come up. So how can we be proactive? We want to plan for this growth in a way that protects our hometown charm and ensures reliable services for the residents that we have the honor to serve. And it will position Lake Placid to thrive, not just today, but for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years down the road. This is why the decisions made, particularly as we move into the millage discussion, is so important. It's not just about this year. It's about ensuring that we provide the necessary services now while we prepare for the future we all want for the community of the town of Lake Placid. The next slide reflects millage rate decisions in Lake Placid and provides a little bit of a community overview. The photo that I chose here was taken in February 2017. And as you can see, we all know that even this mural in the back, if we drive by it, it's all getting ready to be repaired. And I think it's a true reflection of what happens over time. Things erode. It gives us a good picture of that. But over the years, our prior councils made thoughtful decisions to keep the millage rate low, often even below the rollback rate. These choices were made with good intentions to minimize the financial burden on our residents. But like many towns across Florida, the long-term effect was a slowdown in our ability to grow revenue at the pace of our community needs. For example, in 2010 to 2011, the town kept the rate steady at 3.81, even though the rollback was 4.61. That also meant a 17% drop in revenue that year. Multiply that across several years, and we will begin to see the impact. This history doesn't reflect bad decisions. Each council makes a decision based off of the circumstances and the position that they are posed with at that time. It reflects more of a focus on relief during those times. But now we have to ask ourselves, how do we sustain the services our residents expect and deserve? So why does less revenue matter? Part of what makes living in Lake Placid so special is that we provide our own essential services with our own dedicated employees right here in the town. That includes police protection, sanitation services, parks and recreation, and our own regional water and wastewater utility systems. These services keep our town running, from the roads we drive on, to the water we drink, to the parks where our children play and our community gathers for events and celebrations. They reflect the identity and quality of the life we are proud of in the town of Lake Placid. When revenue is limited, these services don't disappear overnight, but they do slowly diminish. Fewer police patrols, delayed trash pickup, utility systems that can't keep up with growth, parks that go without regular mowing, broken equipment that isn't replaced, and community spaces that do fall into disrepair. These are all visible signs of underinvestment, and these things chip away at the very fabric of our community and who the town of Lake Placid is. We're not looking to expand unnecessarily. We're focused on preserving the hometown experience that our residents expect and deserve. The charm of the town of Lake Placid depends not on just what you see, but how you feel when you live here. And that includes safe neighborhoods, clean and reliable drinking water, clean parks and safe parks with well-lit fields and safe playgrounds, all with welcoming public spaces where families make memories and desire to have their children return and come back. Let's talk about the rollback rate, which sounds like holding the line, but in reality, it can truly hold a town back. The rollback rate gives us the same revenue as the year before. That means there's no adjustment for inflation, no allowance for rising costs, and no margin to invest in any improvements. Choosing a rate above rollback is not about burdening our residents. It's about being responsible stewards of our future. It's how we make sure the next generation enjoys the same hometown feel and quality services that brought many of us here in the first place. The rollback rate is often seen as a way to keep taxes flat, and technically it really does do that. But it also freezes our revenue. And in today's economy, where costs for the fuel, equipment, insurance, and personnel have all gone up, staying at the rollback rate means we fall behind year after year. We can't maintain today's services at the levels using yesterday's dollars. That's the hard truth. Inflation doesn't wait, and neither do the demands on our staff and the infrastructure. As we went through the history of the millage decisions and the long-term financial implications of operating below the rollback rate, we had to ask, what rate allows us to realistically sustain services like police, sanitation, water, wastewater, and parks, not just this year, but for the years to come? And on the screen, you will see the 5 different millage options that we presented. After careful review, we identified 3.65 as a practical and strategic target for us to start with. It reflects a level of funding that gives us room to maintain our existing services, invest in deferred infrastructure, and begin to address priorities that have been postponed due to past underfunding. From a municipal management perspective, this is a conservative approach to stabilizing our operations without overextending. Importantly, one key takeaway is that under Florida law is that we can set the proposed millage rate high and reduce it during the budget process. But you cannot raise it once council approves a proposed millage. By proposing 3.65, the town does preserve flexibility. It allows town council and the public to have full discussions before a final adoption. Whether we land at the 3.65 or we choose to lower it to a lower option, what's most important is that we don't return to a pattern of shortfalls. And we do have a comparison that we would like to pull up. Eva, do you have that one saved where
We'll
you're?
have to minimize that and pull it up. Leanne, it's not on the PowerPoint. Which one are we doing that? The 3 comparisons?
Mm-hmm.
It's not on the PowerPoint, it's at the bottom of the screen. I don't have my clicker. Right there, there you go.
Thank you.
You might have to blow it up a little bit.
So what you're looking at here is we have 3 snapshot views where we took 3 different property values and we divided it out so that you could see what the rates would be. We were asked about why we didn't take it to 5. We put 5 here just for presentation purposes. I want to leave that up there so everybody has a chance to look at it. The proposed millage at 3.65 is going to be here, and it would show you what the taxable value is, the prior year property tax, the difference annually, and the per month difference. Got 206 here, 61 and 469. We have 5, 3.65, 3.50, 3.25, 3.15, and 3.10. I would like to turn this portion over to our town clerk, who has extensive background in the process, and she can explain how she performs this task in the clerk's office. So, Madam Clerk, I turn it over to you, ma'am.
So the state of Florida has their truth and millage. As a town clerk, I'm responsible for following Chapter 200 of the Florida Code. Better? I'm not used to talking much. So I do the truth and millage. I'm the one that was responsible for that. The first, July 1st, the county sends us the taxable values. We complete the DR 420. I use that DR 420 to come up with the different scenarios. So I'm able to calculate that out. Once the town council approves your proposed millage, I will then complete that DR 420, and that will go to the county. On the DR 420, it will have our first meeting date, which is September. So that's our first notice to the public, then when they get their trim, get mailed to them. After that, we move through our process. When it gets to the September 1st hearing, you still have an opportunity to reduce that 3.65 or whatever you decided at that time as we go through the budget process. Everything is timelined out. County has their timeline, we have our timeline, then I have to report everything. So our second adoption hearing is the third Monday of September, because within a few days after that, we need to start getting everything sent to the state of Florida. So just an overall on how that process works and looks at. So my job is to give you all the scenarios and work with staff, with Charlotte and Rachel as we go through the budget process. Yes.
Just a quick question, in what the county gives you, what I'm curious is what the estimated number of, houses and businesses that a tax bill goes to.
So I can send you the DR 420, which will give you the total tax value. Keep in mind that this DR 420 and what the numbers that they give us, these are estimates.
I get it.
During the course of time, once everything gets processed and at the end of the process, property owners have the availability to go back to the county and say, you overappraised. So when we give you that dollar amount, we may get less during the course when we get our final, say, payout from the taxes. It may be lower. We have properties that they didn't pay their taxes, so we're not receiving that revenue. So there's a lot of flexibility in the number that we end up with as a true dollar amount for revenue.
But does that 420 say this is the number of tax bills that are?
No, it does not give me a total
I'm curious
number.
as to that number, what the number of tax, it's like homes that are taxable and businesses. Do you know that?
Well, I don't, I did a little bit of research, and the number is approximately 1,045 total residences, from if those numbers are.
That's about a number of residents. I do a lot of jurisdictional counts on properties, so that's about right. I can give you the number, pretty much the number of properties that are being taxed, and give you that number.
That's the total number of properties, I was told. But of that amount, there is a good portion that is below the $50,000 exemption level, and there are some that get the widow's exemption.
Yes.
There's the veterans and permanently disabled benefit. So out of that 1,000 and some, it's actually less.
Lower of taxpayers.
And that's where the fluctuation on what we actually receive versus, what we propose in the budget, that's all estimates, and that's the best we can go on as far as that.
And then second, do you have what the county told you this year for the taxable value?
I
Because
don't
they
have
told
it.
us it's probably going to go up 8%, right? So
I
I'm
don't
just,
have it with me, but I can send it out to council.
I would be interested in what the dollar that they're saying, they're estimating, and I get it, it's an estimate for this year, and then also what was the dollar for last year? Because they told us it's looking at 8% taxable increase during the budget meeting.
So the DR 420 does show that. It will show you the current year, and it will show you the prior year.
Okay,
So it's all on
perfect.
that document.
Right, thank you.
But isn't that accounted for when they calculate the rollback rate,
That is all calculated on the DR 420.
which includes the extra 8%?
I don't know what the 8% is as
Well,
far
if that's-
as the difference between the two, but you'll see, I'll send the DR 420. I can't go through how they calculate that. It's very, you'll see the form and you'll see how it's calculated.
So
They divide this line by that line and, so it's
So I think what
a
you're,
lot of calculations that go into that rollback rate.
so the
That
question is, the
calculated.
8% that we were told property values were going to go up, does that contribute to,
It contributes to the calculation of the rollback rate.
so it goes into the rollback rate, so it's already accounted for?
So the rollback rate says, this is the revenue you took in last year. And if you go with the rollback rate, you're going to get the same exact amount of revenue, or give or take. But it does not account for inflation, doesn't count for cost. It's saying you're just getting the same exact money you got
Oh, okay.
last year versus
Right.
this year. It doesn't take anything else into consideration
Yeah.
for those dollars.
And just clarity, I'm rounding up, it was like 7.86% or something that they did state, and I did listen to the county commissioners meeting, that there is going to be, on average for Highlands County, this % of property tax increase. Which there is every year, right?
And that's because the property value went up.
Property values have gone up considerably, ever since COVID, and everybody's coming down to Florida and finding their way to Highlands County and Lake Placid.
And then this was just the historical snapshot of the rollback rate, and this is provided by the town clerk every year when we go through this process, and so it gives a historical snapshot. I know that it was out there that we were raising taxes by 18%, and I think that the reason why we wanted to put this in the public, there's also a video that is going out to our residents through the Nextdoor app, and then it was also posted on our Facebook page to be able to provide what the rollback looks like, because it's very different in what people believe it is opposed to what it truly is. And even with the DR 420, it's very cumbersome. As you will see, Councilwoman Charles, it is not simple math and accounting. Once you get it, it's very detailed and cumbersome to come up with the numbers.
Just to clarify, the 18%, not this 18%, but somebody calculated if you go from the 3.1, which we have now, to a 3.65, that's 18%.
Yes.
So it's not this rollback over here, it's a strict, in the packet was 3.1, 3.15, 3.2, and 3.65. So going from today's rate to 3.65 is an 18%. That's where that number came from, I understand.
Thank you for your clarification. And so if you see here 2006, 2007, and you go through, you will see where we operated many years under what even the state said we needed to function. So the 3.65, as you can see, was decided upon because we held it here for 8 years, steady. We understand that any discussion around raising taxes brings concern, and rightfully so. Many of our residents are on fixed incomes, and every increase feels very personal. We hear those concerns, and as public servants, we deeply respect and value the voices of our community. At the same time, it's our responsibility to look honestly at the state of our own town services and plan for what's ahead. Choosing the rollback rate again means that we bring in the same amount of revenue as last year, but costs for the fuel, materials, maintenance, and staffing continue to rise. In the short term, adopting the rollback rate might feel like the easier choice. But over time, it does chip away at the very things that make the town of Lake Placid home. Our public spaces, our safety, and our ability to deliver services that residents count on. This really isn't about unnecessary expansion. It's about protecting the small town charm that brought people here in the first place. It's about maintaining that standard that requires thoughtful investment. And this conversation is about making sure that we can continue to provide the core services for everyone who lives in the town of Lake Placid. This is an area that I asked Alan to speak on. So Alan, will you please tell them where this road is located and how we experienced that just recently as of last week?
This area is at the intersection of the Service Alley and West Park Street by the Historical Society. A few weeks ago, all you would have seen was some of those stress cracks, and all it takes is a couple rainstorms, and it completely disintegrated and washed down the hill. So we have repaired it since then, but it just happened to coincide with us coordinating with the county a week ago to actually fix a different area, but we were able to get, that took precedence, and we were able to fix that today.
Thank you, Alan. That also speaks about the intergovernmental coordination that we have with the county because they do have the asphalt plant, so it worked out very nicely that we were able to get that taken care of right away. Understanding the millage and where Lake Placid stands among peer communities. See if I can try to blow it up, but it won't let me. This slide shows how Lake Placid's millage rate compares to other towns similar in size and structure, what the state refers to as a non-entitlement unit of local government. We have been asked and been compared to Avon Park and Sebring. However, these numbers reflect municipalities that are exactly like ours or very much alike ours. They don't receive direct federal funding and rely heavily on local revenue. Looking at this comparison helps put our rate into perspective and shows how we align or we differ from peer communities facing the same service demands that the town of Lake Placid is. If anyone in the public would like a copy of this, if you reach out to our town clerk, she will be able to provide that to you. All of town council received a hard copy on the dais. The town is working to ensure we have the resources needed to deliver the core services that our residents rely on, from protecting public safety and maintaining infrastructure to caring for the parks and the public spaces that give Lake Placid its identity, pride, and sense of community. But more importantly, it's a reminder that we are in this together. Budgeting isn't just about numbers, it's about the people. If we don't have the people, then what are we here for? It's about how we as a town, as the council, as a staff, as the residents, as our business owners, how we all come together to shape a place that we all call home. As our fellow partner with the tourist development and community leader, Casey Hart, says all the time, we're on the same team. This isn't a matter of us versus them. It's about partnership. Each of us is an essential piece of the fabric that makes up the town of Lake Placid. Whether you're maintaining utilities, serving on the council, running a local business, or simply raising a family here, we all want the same thing: clean, safe neighborhoods, reliable services, and a community that works for everyone, not just today, but for the years to come. And that's what this process is about. So on the screen, you will see our upcoming budget workshop dates. All of the workshops will be held here from 6 to 9. As we look ahead, we want to take a moment to remind everyone how important it is for your participation and to be here. Council members are encouraged to contact the finance director directly to schedule a time in advance if there are any budget items that you would like to review or clarify. She will coordinate with schedules to ensure that myself and her are both available to meet with each council member together. Residents are also invited and encouraged to participate in this process as well. If you would like to discuss the budget one-on-one, please reach out to the town clerk's office and she will be able to coordinate the meetings. We welcome and encourage community input. Your involvement plays a key role in shaping the future of the town of Lake Placid. This process is a partnership between all of us. With that, I want to thank each of you for your time, and even everyone behind me. I tried to say thank you to those who came. Your thoughtful attention to the priorities, your leadership, and your attentiveness means very much to the residents, but also to the staff who are trying to develop the budget that council will set. So thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Mayor Holbrook.
While you're there, just if anybody has any questions. Yeah, come up. Yeah, this is an important topic, and everybody needs to understand how this works.
Jack Conley, 607 Sunset Point Drive. I'm not an accountant, so I may ask some dumb questions. With the 3.65% or 3.65 mill rate, right? It appears that the additional revenue would be about $401,000. Just taking it off your sheet here, okay? Now, if we were to eliminate the $200,000 that's going to the pickleball courts, we could reduce that 3.65 mils by about 50%. Right? The other thing that I have a question is the next line on the item there. It talks about 95% of taxable value. Is that assuming that you're not going to be able to collect the full 100%, or
You want me to explain?
what is it?
I can better explain that.
Okay.
So that has to do with our CRA. So in 2017, the CRA was established. At that time, it's called tax increment financing. At that time, when they adopted the CRA for our general fund, it froze your taxable values at that time. The remaining portion, so 95%, that remaining portion, as it goes up, as your property values go up, that funding is diverted to the CRA. So essentially, your streets, let's say your streets and world, the general fund, it kind of froze up. Any additional, as you said, the 8% going up in taxable value, if it's in the CRA district, that funding is going to the CRA. It's not going to the general fund. So that means that roads and those types of things, you're not getting the value because it's now going to CRA. Now, the town voted to do a very large CRA. So our plan allows for beautification, allows for infrastructure. The added bonus of getting that CRA was that you now get that same 95% above as the property values go up. We also get that from the county. So we get the county portion of the taxes also goes into the CRA. That is funding we would not have had without a CRA, if that makes sense. So we've actually taken funding from the county, goes in our CRA, and funding from our general fund that goes into the CRA. So that's that 95% calculation.
Okay, so the 95% is what you really have to work with as far as the
Yes, you lose that
you lose
tax
5%
increment.
to the CRI. Okay. Now, besides the regular city taxes that are on our tax bill, there's an item there for, I believe, trash collection.
That's your non-ad valorem taxes,
Yeah.
same
Okay.
as the county.
Now, that's not included in this.
No.
Right. So that could go up too then.
Yes,
Depending
yes,
on what-
it could go up
Yeah,
when they
okay.
go through the budget process.
Okay. Now, I noticed, just looking at my tax bill, that the the taxes for Lake Placid, not including the trash collection, is roughly about 1/6 of my total bill. Right? So if all the other entities on there increase their budget by 17.7 or 18%, you're talking about quite a bit of money. I mean, I'm lucky I can afford it, you know, but there's a lot of people in town that wouldn't be able to afford, you know, an additional $500 or so on their tax bill. I think that's something that you should think about. That's all I have. Thank you.
My name is Chet Heath. I live at 588 Sunset Point Drive in Lake Placid. And first of all, I want to say something to John. You were the first person I met here, and you made a point tonight that you made to me then that helped me decide to move here. And that was you wanted to maintain that small town feel. And so far, I think we've done it, but it's a fight. I have a question about the calculations. There has to be a relationship between the capital needs of the town and the increase in millage rate. I would ask, what is the ratio as we add new services or new expenses that come every year? How does that come out to in terms of percentage increase in the millage rate? Is there any kind of calculation that'll show me that? If we spend $100,000 here, will I come out to another $1,000, another 0.1 increase in the millage rate? I mean, this is a curiosity question, but it'd be easier for us to analyze things coming before the council if we knew both the cost of acquisition of whatever is we build and the cost of maintenance. The two are not coupled together, but perhaps time does couple them together. So I'd like to know that answer. I can't calculate it myself, but it would be interesting to know when we spend money, how much is it going to increase our taxes at home? Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. You what? Okay. As you see on there, placed on the agenda, that staff is presenting five different options for consideration. You may adopt a high proposed rate and reduce it later, but just remember, once we set this, we can never go above that. So we want to make sure what we do is what we think is going to carry us through for the next year. We're proposing a 3.65. It was brought to my attention that there were some that thought we should go to 5, but I think 5 is just a little excessive. I think if we're going to do it, let's do it gradually over a number of years, but at least try to keep up with inflation, what's going on. We lost, 7% last year in revenue? We can't afford to keep losing money and maintain everything the way it is. So I think we need to go up, but it's just, we just got to decide to how much you want to do it.
What did you just say? We lost 7% in revenue last year?
Yeah, it was on there. It was,
What-
I don't have the exact figure in front of me. Let's see if we can find it.
That's the rollback difference?
Yeah, we went from 21% down to 24%. I don't think
That's not revenue dollars, right?
no.
So make sure I understand, that number is the difference that if we had, no, wait, never mind. Okay, so we were barely above the rollback rate.
Eva, will you explain the reason why it will state in the newspaper that we have an increase? Could you explain that for them?
So under Florida state law, it's a tax increase. It's a legal term they use, tax increase. It is a tax increase because the law is written so that it says if you go over that rollback rate, you're increasing taxes. Again, I remind you that the state of Florida statute doesn't allow for inflation, costs going up. That's just as straight. This is what you're getting. This will keep you the same as you were last year. And it doesn't allow for any other increases that are happening with, staff or roads, and all the increase. And there has been an extreme increase in road construction costs. We've seen that across the board too, and I think the county has also pointed out that. So that's basically why you're advertising an increase, because the state of Florida says that's an increase. But just keep in mind that that only allows for, you're getting the same you get last year. You got $100 last year, you're going to get $100 this year, and it costs $150.
And
To do
and
the
there again,
business.
once you set this rate, doesn't mean you have to stay at that rate.
Correct.
We can drop it once we get all of our numbers in and everything. But at least we're doing something to help control it.
Okay, so I'll jump in. There's no argument in my mind that we would go to a rollback rate. So that's not even I get it that that's what the state and this and that, but in today's environment, as last year, I don't recommend going to a rollback rate. So I appreciate all these charts of the difference between rollback and millage and all that. I'd like to just talk year to year increase. Last year we approved 3.1, and I think this is a good chart up there. And, the year before 3.5. So we see the trend coming down. But I'd like to move away from these mill rates, and let's talk true dollars and what this equates to. And that's what I've done my homework on. So over the last 4 years, let's just say the last 4 years, because according to this, it was 3.25, and then it came down to 3.1 mil. And that's what we see on our property tax bill as ad valorem, Town of Lake Placid. So over the last 4 years, the revenue has increased, and I'm going to come back to that with how much it has increased. So the ad valorem revenue to us over the last 4 years has increased. CRA monies have increased also, even though it's a different bucket and it's only a pretty large area we can spend it on, it is still our money to spend. And I don't want to forget the CRA dollars. Property taxes have increased. Property tax values have increased year over year. We just talked about they're estimating 8% this year. So year over year, new construction has been completed throughout the town, which is also adding to the property tax base. Let's not forget, the town of Lake Placid has a 1% utility tax. And so when you look at our revenue, ad valorem is the highest amount of our revenue. The next highest is the utility tax, which is a tax on electric and propane. Electric costs have been going up, so we're getting more revenue for utilities. The third largest revenue is the electric franchises. That's also gone up. That's what Duke Energy and the utility, it's utility franchise. So as I look at over the last 4 years of our budget, not even our budget, our actuals to now, we've had some sizable revenue increases. For example, in 21-22 budget year, the CRA was $66,000, ad valorem was $781,000. Utilities was $378,000. In 2023, the next year, the CRA went from $66,000 to $109,000, ad valorem went up $848,000. Now it starts to grow, because that's when people are starting to move here, and the values are going up. 23-24, CRA increased to $245,000, ad valorem increased to $958,000. 24-25, this budget year, ad valorem, and actually through the June report, is at $1,048,000. So 21-22, put that other chart back up there. If we can, I don't care about the. So to me, I like to talk dollars. I mean, all these numbers are good, but how do those numbers equate to dollars? Because there's other things going up that is the impact on the revenue coming to us. So I had just mentioned ad valorem for 21-22, which was 3.25 at that time. Adopted millage was $781,000. And right now we're already at $1,033,000 at a 3.1. So in 4 years, we're talking the $350,000, and that's just ad valorem. CRA has gone from 66,000 up to 300 some, and I mean, Rachel would be better, but the CRA balance right now is, I think right now it's 300 and some, but we're expecting to get another 200,000. So we've got a sizable CRA balance. In addition, we have a couple fund reserves that you've heard me bring up in the past. You know, one is the general fund reserve, which has like 1.3 million in it. And I know the mayor graciously, every time I bring it up, saying, well, is there money here? And the infrastructure reserve is like $2.4 million. So we're talking $4 million in two reserves of the town that we could tap into. And as I've brought it up at least 3 times over the last 15 months, the mayor graciously let me know that it didn't used to be that way, we've built it up, and we can't let it go. Well, we have a policy from 9 years ago as a reserve adequacy policy that says every year we should be reviewing that, and that we need to keep 3 months in the reserve. So I believe that's $4 million of taxpayer money. Am I suggesting that we draw it all down? No, but I'm suggesting that we look at what are the things that we need to get done that we're not. And then, is it really a tax increase from the 3.1 up when we know we've got another 8% coming in if the property tax values are higher? And then we also have reserves that we should, as town council fiduciary responsibilities, be looking at that. So long, and I've got more numbers here. I even took a look at the chart that was in the town packet where it says if we do 3.1 and if we go up to 3.65, we're talking under 200,000 to increase it from where we are now, 3.1 to a 3.65 in dollars. And that's what I added together on this chart, what the CRA and the ad valorem would be if we had 3.1 or if we had 3.2 or we had 3.65. So, and again, I'm not at all suggesting we go to a rollback rate because of a lot of the things that we want to get done, things that we haven't gotten done, that we need staff and we need projects to get done. but I'm not supportive of a 3.65. And I'm at the 3.1 because of the couple hundred, the money that's going to come in this year over and above last year's revenue, and the difference between 3.1 and 3.65 is like 180,000. So I will pause because I have done a lot more analysis over the revenue and that, and I'm satisfied that we have a lot of revenue. We just haven't done the right way of determining where to use it. And second, I don't know that we've done the right way in our budget of what is the staff needs. What are the things that we need? And nor have we ever done a 5-year business plan, is what a lot that you do is, okay, these are the things we want to get done in X amount of years. What can we afford this year? What about next year? And et cetera.
So then, are you saying that the difference between the 3.1 and the 3.65 is only a couple $100,000, and so we can find other places to either find that or decrease expenses to that extent so that we would not have to raise that rate to 3.65? Did I understand that correctly?
So, Eva, if you can go in the agenda item for today, right, which has this sheet that was the schedule, I think that shows it a little better.
That's what I have up on my...
Oh, you have it up, but
I
she
have
needs
it.
it up for the public.
Yeah, I have it on my computer up
Yeah.
there.
So what I did with this sheet, not the packet. And I'm not necessarily saying reducing costs. I'm saying when we do the budget, what are some of the cost efficiencies that we can attain? What are the needs that we have? And I think that we have the revenue that's going to be coming in for next year, and also some significant fund reserves that we have. So what I did is just, let's use this one. I took the 988, which is the, less the CRA, but then you're going to add it back in again. But I took the 988 and I added the CRA, the revenue right there. So 337,907 is CRA revenue plus 988 town revenue gives you 1,326,658. So I'll pause, Eva, if you think I've added that wrong. Okay, so then if you go to the last page, which is 3.65, and you do the same thing, you add the town revenue of 1, go to the option 3.65. Yeah, I've done each of them. Okay, here. So if you go down and say town tax revenue 1,164,000, and you add the CRA revenue of 354 to it, it's 1,519,000. So the difference of,
I don't see 354, I see 242.
no, the total CRA revenue. I don't,
CRA total.
right here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah.
online. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So basically, we're talking 1,326,000 at a 3.1 mil, or 1,519,000 at a 3.65. So just under 200,000. That's why I want to talk numbers, not these percents and things like that. Let's just talk raw number, because again, utility taxes are going up, property values are going up. There's a lot of things that attribute to the revenue.
So,
And expenses are going up, so we know that too, right?
so you're saying that because the difference in the 3.1 versus the 3.65 is only a couple $100,000, that we could stay at the 3.1 and not overtax our citizens and still be okay? Have I got that right?
Yes,
Okay.
because we also have some considerably reserves
Right, we have
that we
other-
could also
other sources.
use. And then as some of the things come out, hopefully during the master plans, there could be grants and that to go to too. But, I mean, it's the whole optics of continuing to, and again, the rollback is very confusing to people, and I get that. That right there is like a tax increase. No, it's year over year, it's the same. Now, granted, whatever we set, we can't go above. But that's the same thing that we did last year. But, you know,
May I?
yeah, I was just answering her question.
Okay, Nell, did you have any comments?
No, I'm just good. I'm just trying to make sure that I understand what she's saying correctly.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to make a comment. I've spent a lot of time talking to staff, and I've been watching. I've been here around here a long time. Look pretty old. I'm just saying that we were at 3.65 back in 2011, 2012. I know you can. I've done a lot of counting too, not extensive as you, but you can manipulate, you can change figures, you can do this and that. Our staff has told me that they're recommending the 3.65 as a minimum to make our town pretty much roll along and do what we need, just what we need to do. We do need to, I believe we have to be competitive with staff. The state legislature hands down mandates, unfunded mandates to us all the time. And there's just, if our staff is in the trenches and they're saying they need this, I want to at least support the 3.65 until we go through the workshops and hear from everybody. I mean, we owe that to our staff. That's my feeling on it.
Can I ask what the recommendations coming out from staff for the sizable increase are? Do we have like, I mean, somebody asked that earlier too, but do we have like a list of what are the things we want to do, which is generating why there needs to be an year-over-year increase?
It's very complicated, and I don't know that we could spend, I don't know. It's just a lot of moving parts. Things happen, roads wear out. I mean, you might have so many roads in one year, maybe you don't have any the next year. I mean, it's a calculation that our staff is out there in the trenches. They look at what needs to be done. They've made a recommendation. If we don't raise, I believe this, if we need to raise salaries to keep competitive, or we're going to lose our best people. I hope you're not thinking about that, Alan. Don't listen to this. Harry, all y'all plug your ears. But, you know, we have to be competitive. We just lost a staff member because of salary and a few more benefits. I don't want to lose our good people. I want to keep our people. And I'm just saying, if our staff in the trenches, they do this every day, they see what needs to be done. If they're recommending 3.65, let's at least give them that and go through the workshop and hear from the public what they want. Let's look at it in depth. We can't resolve all this tonight, I don't believe, but we do need to establish this rate to work from. We can't go up. Later in our discussions, we can't go up. We're going to have to go down, or stay where we're at. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
So the objective tonight is to set the highest rate, and we can always come down. So I would say put it at the 3.65 for tonight, have all the budget workshops, see if we can, you know, somehow get it lower. But I'd also like to point out that 3.65 was the rate for many years, and then out of the kindness of their hearts, the sympathy of the prior councils got us in a hole. During those years, inflation was about 47%, and we have to dig ourselves out of that hole. So I'm saying for tonight's purposes, make it the 3.65, go through the workshops, and then decide.
Is that a motion?
All right, that's a motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
So-
Any other comments from the
I
board?
do. I appreciate staff and what the recommendation. However, I still didn't hear, I mean, when people come and they say, well, we need to increase it, they usually say for these reasons. And I'm not certain, it's clear to me what these reasons are. So Charlotte, was there a list of things that were missing? And then the last is somebody made the comment that we were in a hole from a few years ago. I don't know where that hole is compared to the numbers that you're seeing of revenue going up, but okay. So what is driving the need to increase the current 3.1, which is going to give a couple $100,000 anyways, to 3.65? Was there a list of things, or was it a warm and feely that this is what we should do?
No, it's definitely not warm and feely. If
Okay.
anything, it's very stressful because we're trying to make very good decisions, not just for the residents, but also for our business owners and everything. So it's definitely not a touchy-feely. We are definitely looking at numbers, we're looking at past historical data, but time constraints will prevent us from being able to look at everything with a fine-tooth comb like you're asking us to. The reality is that as soon as we get the numbers from the county, then we now look at our budget and we try to determine off the millage what we need to work off of. So we will go through this process as soon as you set it, and we go through the budget workshops that have been set. The information that's being asked, we will be able to present. It will be a transparent and open dialogue between staff, the residents, and council. So this is the process that we go through in government, is you set the millage, and then we walk you through the budget process and justify our requests at that time.
So just my last comment based on, I get it, this is the highest, and we can always go lower.
Right.
But anybody who's gone through budgets knows, whatever you approve, that's what I'm coming in at. So we'll just leave it like that.
Yeah,
Wait, sorry, can
I just want everybody to understand that they set this rate doesn't necessarily mean that's what it's going to be. Nobody has a crystal ball. The next few months, we work through the process, we get all the numbers, then we can come back and adjust it. But if we set it at 3.1 and later on find out that isn't going to work, we cannot go up. But if we go to 3.65, then if we see we can adjust it down, that's not a problem, and that's what we'll do. We'll adjust it down not only to help the town, but to help our taxpayers, and that's what it's all about. So let's get through the process and see, and we'll do what we can for everybody, but,
And like,
right,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, right now, we have a motion and a second. You got something else?
I do.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a word in on this end of the podium, so you have to raise your hand and wave a lot, because I can't see over the, anyway, yes, I understand what Councilwoman Charles is saying, and I appreciate all of her calculations, and I know she has her heart in the right place with all of them, and they do make sense. They do make sense, I get it. But I also, and it concerns me a little bit that she has the idea that if we set this at 3.65 and staff knows that we're up there, that they will then spend that money, and, regardless, they're going to go up to that. Past history for me, not only being on this council, I've got not quite 4 years, but I've been in the town an awfully long time, almost 50 years, and I've never seen a council that took advantage, or staff that took advantage of the fact that we had X amount of dollars allocated. And I've also seen that a millage rate has been set by this council, and then it is rolled back. It has come down, because once the budgets actually come out and we see, oh, we can do this better, we can do that better, and then we can come down. But I've always felt trapped, because I have to set a millage rate without seeing any numbers. So it would let me sleep better at night if we set this at 3.65, and that way it gives us the flexibility to go down. And we know we can't go up, but 3.65 will let us know that, okay, we can go this far. Maybe I'm sure we don't really want to, but at least we have the ability to do that so that our town can continue to prosper.
Okay.
I'm done now.
All right, any other comments from the podium?
I guess, everybody is concerned about the fixed income, low income people. And so there are the people who are in dire straits, who probably live in a house that's under the $50,000 exemption. They get that. Then there's also, if you're a widow, I think you get $5,000 exemption. And if you're a veteran or permanently disabled, you get an exemption. If you are over a certain age and low income, you get an additional exemption. So I think the ones who are really in dire straits are considered.
I'll take it to the audience. Any comments?
There's a couple down there.
Step forward.
Forward, state your name and address, and remember it is a 3-minute time limit on all comments.
I live in Lake Placid. My name is Elena Silva, 107 Heather Lane. We are unincorporated, but obviously we're still paying taxes. For full transparency, I think for all the residents, and you should have a list of all the items or the large items that you're looking to spend that money. I've worked with community associations, and we do this every year. We propose budgets, and we go over all the large items and obviously the small ones, and you should have already an amount of money that you need for the following year. I haven't heard anything. You have a list, you don't have it. You should be prepared to offer that to the residents so they know what you're looking to spend the money on. That's my...
Actually, that was my concern that I tried to say before.
Both of you had that concern, but I haven't heard anything.
Well, it's not time yet, see. We set this rate.
I know,
and
but
then
you're
we
gonna
hear the
approve-
budget. Well,
You're gonna approve the rollover tonight, and you're gonna go to the max, which is 365.
yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but it's
all agree
because
it's
we
80%.
haven't heard what they are going to spend it for. So to me, I wish we could do that backwards. I wish we could see
Correct.
the
For
budget
transparency.
first and then the rollback, but we can't do that. So.
Correct. That's for transparency. I think we all should have. We should see a list at least. So the large items. I understand the staff. I understand the firefighters and police, and we all agree that we need to invest money on that, but we have to also see the amount of money that you're looking to collect from us as residents. Thank you so much.
This is the required process that the town has to go through. It would make sense to do exactly what you're saying, but the state in its infinite wisdom said we have to do it this way. So you saw the 3 dates for the workshops. All the things that you're asking for will be discussed during the workshops.
Okay, my concern is that if you said a 3.65, I'm a little concerned that that's not gonna go down. That's my only thing. So I maybe finding a medium, not necessarily has to go 310 or 365, finding a medium, and we can still have a little room to play with the numbers, if it makes sense. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Pam Fentress, 12373 Lost Lake Drive, Lake Placid. I live in the greater Lake Placid area, so I always feel uneasy talking about taxes that town taxpayer and business owners pay. But I would like to remind y'all that Lori Herner stated last Thursday night here when she discussed the county's budget that please don't freak out, spread the word. We're gonna set it at the max rate, and then we'll review the budgets again and again and again over the next 2 months and figure out where we're going to be. Right now, the first budget draft proposal that the county came up with is a 10.8% increase. They try to keep it around an average 5% total increase. Things that make it different for Lake Placid than City, Sebring, and unincorporated Highlands County, the town of Lake Placid has twice the poverty rate as the average in the state of Florida. You have a median income of $28,000. You have higher percentage older homes in the town limits versus Avon Park or Sebring. You have a higher percentage rate of rental or lease homes in the town limits. All these are in combination, adding in Lake June Point homes, Water's Edge home, higher income homes, higher incomes. So it averages out the different areas in the town limits that have lower income. Governor DeSantis, property tax cuts. He's been proposing, he's talking about it. That's probably going to happen in the future too. Be aware of that. The county said 7.9% increase in assessed value, around 8%. That doesn't mean that will come back to the town of Lake Placid. Sebring is growing, Avon Park's growing, the county is growing. In my opinion, the town of Lake Placid isn't growing. Why? In large part, I think due to the Lake Placid Regional Plan. You cannot say Avon Park may grow 15% assessed value. We may be 5%. even with the Amazon distribution center. The new state law that was passed, ag is not only exempt for 5 years, it is now exempt for 10 years for the citrus groves that are being pushed. So what that means, we're not going to pay a fire assessment to the county. So other taxpayers will have to pony up more money to cover ag exemptions. It's a state law. There are multiple state laws in effect that's going to affect the town's budget in the process. And I don't think it's fair that 90% of the people that use the town parks, town amenities, aren't paying town taxes. I don't think it's fair. I'm coming up here, and if I were to say, y'all need to double, triple, go up to 9% or 9 mils, I'm not having to pay that. I clearly get that y'all are actually town taxpayers. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please check my facts. This is Chet Heath, 588 Sunset Point Drive in Lake Placid. On 6/11 in the Highlands Park Sun, there was an article in the Lake Placid section that said our taxes, be ready, your taxes are going to go up because of the Amazon Center and because of Lake June Isles and other improvements that we've had. And I want to know why don't those people pay for the increase instead of us? Why isn't there an impact fee? When you move in here, you build a building, and you're going to impact the services that are required. Why isn't there an impact fee for doing that? Anyhow, thank you. That's my point.
Okay, we'll bring it back to council. Poll the council, please.
Sorry. Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
No, because I'd like to see it at a lower rate, and I'd like to know a little of what are the things that we want to do, so. It's a no. At the 3.65 is a no for me.
All right. We'll now go to propose cemetery budget amendment request.
Good evening. Alan Kiefer, Public Works Director. I'm here tonight to request a budget amendment in the cemetery. We had a 30 horsepower turbine irrigation pump go out. This pump is very old. It's been rebuilt at least 2 times in the recent past, once 5 years ago, once 2 years ago. This pump has been in the ground probably the better part of 20 years. It's been moved at one point from inside the pump house to the outside because the well collapsed years back. So this turbine pump requires the cast iron pipe that drops down and has the shaft inside of it that propels the impellers and goes through the screen at the bottom. That cast iron pipe we found after the turbine seized up. We had it pulled, and that cast iron pipe is completely corroded. It's unusable. There's pinholes all through it. The filter, the screen at the bottom, is completely also collapsed, like just completely caved in itself. So I am proposing that we do away with this system instead of using the same turbine pump, replacing that. It costs more for electricity to run that turbine. It's more maintenance. It has to have the bearings redone. Occasionally the motor windings have to be replaced, the oil, the noise. There's a lot of things that are inefficient about that pump in general. So I'm requesting up to 21,757 to shift to a 300-gallon per minute submersible pump. That will push everything that we have out there. There's roughly 50 sprinklers per zone, so that would give us 6 gallons per minute at each sprinkler with room to expand on each zone if required. Also, that would shift us to a PVC drop pipe. So it would be PVC in that water, not metal that would corrode and collapse the way this one has. So I am requesting that you give the town administrator, Charlotte Rodriguez, permission to go out for bid and then make the decision after the proper procurement process has been completed, and then for the sake of time, so that way we can move forward as soon as those bids come in and a decision is made. So that way we don't have to wait until the next council meeting. While this is rainy season and the grass is doing very well, there are a lot of plants and trees out there that rely on this. And then the whole section that we just opened up in the middle needs that extra water, because we just also shifted all that pipe, and we need to be able to adjust everything that we've just...
Alan, you're getting lower and lower. You got to talk, we're old up here.
I don't know if I'm getting lower. Sorry. The other option is to go back to the turbine, but it's, for all the reasons stated, I recommend against it.
You don't have those pictures available, do you?
On my phone, I can bring it up.
No, they're on your phone. I wish it had them. Wish we could have shown council what they look like.
Due to the time crunch of sending all this in, those pictures were taken the day after I had to submit everything.
So your request is not the 56,000, it's one or the other?
Correct.
Okay.
And your recommendation, as a 21-year service expert in your field, is the submersible, the 21,000?
Yes, it'll be
and
more
it saves
efficient.
us money, right?
Yes, it'll save us money in the long run. If something goes wrong, we can swap out the whole pump for cheaper than what it's going to be now, because right now we're having to pay to do the whole swap out.
Sure, lower future costs, you said.
and This will be
And
these-
they'll tell you, pushing water is a lot easier than pulling water.
Yeah.
So the submersible pump is actually much, much more efficient.
Also, the same electric that is in the current pump house is 3-phase, which is exactly what the new pump will need. I think the only addition we should probably put in a disconnect switch just so we can pull it. It was recommended.
And this would be funded out of the Cemetery Reserve Fund, I would assume?
Cemetery funds has more than enough to cover
Right.
this.
I'll go ahead and make that motion to authorize the town administrator to pursue a submersible pump for the cemetery replacement pump.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from the podium? Hearing none, we'll take it to the audience. All right, seeing none, bring it back. Poll the council.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next is the tower property and surrounding structures.
Thank you, Mayor. The town has been engaged in ongoing discussions with the property owner of the tower site since 2009. We have been in recent conversation with him because he was here last May, not this past May, but May a year ago, and he presented to council. We have had discussions come up about the condition of the property, especially regarding the buildings located behind the tower, which have been identified as having potential code violations. The concerns further underscore the need for a clear plan moving forward. The property owner does plan, Mr. Chuck Svirk plans to be here at the August meeting to have further discussion and to find out from council, what do we do with the tower? What do we do with the property? Our Code enforcement has tried to actively address those concerns. However, because of council discussion with Mr. Svirk, he has said that he wants to answer the call of Save the Tower. So the town, we're asking what is our position, where these are conversations for us to have, especially it's timely with us moving into the budget to determine it's a privately owned property. Are we involved in that? Are we not? There are a lot of questions around that. The historical context has been listed here so that you can see when Mr. Svirk has come forward with meetings in past, beginning from June 1, 2009. Mr. Svirk has said that he wants to know what the public wants at that property, but also what council would like to see. He has alluded to the fact that he would give the town the tower and develop the rest of the property. However, then that poses this council with what would we do with the tower, and how would we maintain, pay for all of the costs that may be associated with the tower use. So we want to know how you would like for us to proceed forward with this. Mr. Svirk, due to health reasons, has asked that I communicate with him and preface some of this prior to the August meeting, and he has stated that he would reach out to council directly to have additional conversation one-on-one before the August meeting. So this is more for dialogue and to find out from you all what you would like for us to do.
I think the first thing to do is get those buildings torn down. And then, I mean, that's top priority.
And I don't understand what the issue is with the buildings, because those buildings, I mean, right on 27, they just look horrible. So I don't know how it's tied together with, I need to sell you or give you the tower to avoid, no, you need to put those buildings in a condition, tear them down, something. So I don't understand the history of, is there something we've promised him that he doesn't have to do that, or the history of how he's holding town council?
In past meetings with him, he's indicated that he does not want the tower, but he would revitalize the bottom. But at this point, the buildings are not, I don't believe, salvageable. So they would have to be completely torn down. But he really wants to get rid of the tower.
Well, I get that.
And that's what his goal is. But no, we've not promised him anything. We've not made any deals with him. He did minimum maintenance on them just to get code enforcement off his back. But I think it's time to, no, I know, but it's time to do something else. And I don't know what the answer is. Personally, I don't think the town can afford to even take the tower if he wants to give it to us, because just to rebuild the elevator system would probably be several $1 million. And, you know, we just can't burden the taxpayers with that kind of a bill. So I'd say let him come, let's talk to him, see what his thoughts are, but unless you all got better ideas, I don't have any answers for him. He's got a monkey on his back that he has to deal with.
Again, I'll say, tear down those buildings, and then we'll talk about whether we accept the tower or not. Because there's no point in even entertaining accepting the tower with the buildings the way they are.
So, my understanding, at this moment in time, he owns the tower and all that, and all those buildings?
He owns the whole project.
And the parking lot and everything.
The whole thing, okay. So, it has been his offer in the past that he would like to give the tower to the town. The problem with giving the tower to the town is we assume this liability of the tower, and of course, then there's the issue of the elevator. We could, if I think outside the box, we could eliminate the fact of an elevator, and we could use cameras or drones for at the top of the building, and have kiosks at the bottom where you could look what the cameras are seeing and turn them around and et cetera from down here. So your tower experience would be on the ground, but through the cameras. Okay, I mean, it's out of the box, but I think the technology is there that we could do that, and then we would not have to address the elevator. And the second thing is, don't hit me. Just don't be nervous. It's just my thought, what's up with the Smoke Shack Barbecue? I think they're running into issues with something, and I don't quite know where. And is it, if it's parking or if it's what, I know we gave them an exemption or something, a latitude on the landscaping, but what if the Smoke Shack, if he would build a building and Smoke Shack would rent that building, then we'd have our restaurant back at the bottom of the tower. The parking issue that they have would be gone, and, you know, maybe it would work.
The last conversation I had with the owners of Smoke Shack, because they come in the hardware store all the time, was that every time they go through one loop, the county or the state would put them through another one.
Mm-hmm. Or the
So
town.
they just had one problem after another.
Mm-hmm.
But he told me here just recently that it's in permitting, and that he's hoping that it'll go through rather quickly, and they want to get started building,
Sure,
from what I
yes.
understand.
Yes, yes.
But,
Again, just out of the box kind of a thing,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, the tower, of course, I grew up with it. I lived on Lake Clay and watched it be built, and it's part of my heritage. I think I've had other people tell me about the cameras. I don't think it'll work. I mean, people can watch on TV. They don't need to drive there, and what are they going to pay? I think if, and I just found out maybe the elevator right now is inoperable. I didn't know that, because if you went up there, you would, I'm not saying the town, how the town should be involved, maybe support, but you would want it to be saved. You would want it to stay. It is iconic. It was before Disney. It's just unbelievable. I mean, when we did the, let me go back to the beginning with the owner. When it was all rolling, when he bought that, everything, he was going to tear down. He had a plan. I haven't seen the plan but he had a plan to tear down all those and then keep the tower and redo that whole plaza, and he had a plan. He brought it to council. He was so excited. He showed it to us, and then the bomb fell out. So when the big crash came. So that's what happened with those buildings. So then we were awarded money from Swift Mud to protect Lake Clay. The main problem is they studied 66 lakes. They picked 5. 3 of those, one of those was Lake Clay. It wasn't that they were impaired already, but they were most in danger of being impaired by runoff. So it wasn't like, fix the lake, let's save the lake before we need to spend $1 billion to fix it. So they gave us the money for the 5 lakes, 2 in Avon Park. It was Lake Clay, Lake McCoy, and Lake June. So we started working on Lake Clay. Well, all of the runoff, not just from his parking lot, but from what now is the cannabis sales office, all of that plaza over there, all of those rooftops, it's all impervious, was coming through his parking lot and down the hill. So the first phase of that project, he donated, if you look at it, he donated that on the north end of the property, that swale. He was charged with donating the land and maintaining it, not just for his property, but for that whole area. All of the paving, all the rooftops, all of that runoff. It was incredibly important for us to have that. He totally cooperated. Had to bring in his attorney, his environmental people. He had to know what he was getting into. So he will always hold a special place in my heart because he helped us save a lake. Doesn't mean anything should happen. I'm just saying, I just want to give you the history, and he's still maintaining it today, and if he ever sells the property, they're going to have to take that up. They're going to have to maintain that drainage for that whole area. That's the way it was designed. I've had several talks with them, and definitely the buildings need to be torn down, and that was always the plan to begin with. To save the tower, I have no idea, but I know because everybody turns to me when it comes up. People call me. When they used to take the antennas move them, they call me up. I'd get so many calls saying, are they tearing the tower down? No, they're just changing the towers up there on the top. So it's important for our community. I think it's important for Highlands County. It's iconic. It's like you go Claremont, you had Cypress Gardens, you come down, you bought citrus here, which isn't going to happen anymore. But then you go on down to the alligator farm, and you went on down to barbecue down in Clewiston. It is part of Florida history. Now, the crack the nut is, I have not been able to determine. Now, the building, from what I understand, is very good shape. He's worked on the railings upstairs. One of the things I think is most important, hardest, once the elevator, and then to keep, there needs to be more protection for the public. He's had people jumping off of there with parachutes. So you have to prevent them from jumping off and going off and trying to do something like that. So there would have to be something done with that. But I think, other than I found out how much the elevator is going to possibly cost, the building is solid as a rock. And for those, so to think about, we're that close to getting this iconic building, not just for Lake Placid, but think what it would do. We could go and walk Tower. We could get on that register. They have a register of probably 40 other properties, Selby Gardens, and museums, Ringley Museum. They list all of those. We could do that. We could put Lake Placid on the map, but I would say Highlands County. It's definitely, to me, it was built in the 60s. It's not as world-known as the races, but it was definitely a tourist attraction. So I would like us to try to figure out how to help him do it or do it. And I did see, and I haven't followed up on this, that the college owns the Jacaranda Hotel in Sebring.
We were just talking about that.
Okay? And they just got $1 million from the state to, renovate, do things for that college. That's $1 million. So I was just thinking, I thought it was so impossible, and I don't know. I don't want to give up on the tower. And I could have a rally, and I told him that. I said I could have a rally, and hundreds of people would come, and I could get pledges, but we don't even know how much it costs to fix it. We don't know what it costs to maintain it ever. I would guess the elevator and the liability is going to be your biggest issues. Really, it's brick. So, but I would like to talk to him some more. Let's see what we can do to save the tower. That's what I'd like to do.
So I think you're asking us what are some of the things we want him to be aware before he comes, and all of this history and everything is good. Supporting what Councilwoman Eberhardt said is, I'd like to know, is he even marketing this property now? We talked to him a year ago, and what he had told us then was he wants to sell the property, but the tower, he didn't quite say the word liability, but he could sell it easier if the tower wasn't part of it. But in the meantime, we're a year later, and those buildings continue to look at the condition. I do believe the value of his property would increase if those buildings were completely gone. So those are some of the things is the buildings, I believe, need to be gone, and it's going to increase his property and help him market it as he's trying to sell it, number one. Number two, I'd be interested in what has he done in a year to try to sell it? Is it actively for sale, all of this property, with or without the tower? Charlotte and I had a conversation earlier today, and based on what's even being said, I said, I think we need to talk to the county. Start with Leah Sauls and say, hey, there's going to be this property, including the tower, that he's interested in selling for development, and put it to them to see in their sources that they have of people coming and wanting to invest and develop. So I think that there's a number of ways that should be pursued with the intent for preserving the tower. And again, I don't know that we, the town, can even afford the cost, number one, the ongoing maintenance and insurance, number two, or stretching the staff on another project when we have a whole bunch of other projects that we have already prioritized we want done. But I think to the point is it's an icon, and it needs to be preserved. The people want it to be preserved, whether it's county, a private entity, or what. Until we start marketing it out there for sale, you never know who may come and express an interest. So those would be what I would want to know to him, is how has he actively pursued selling the property with or without? Because he can put in there, you know, something about the tower, and then start the discussions with Highland County to participate in what ideas they may have.
I think we should also, and Deborah, I think you're excellent at this. I think we should approach Casey Hartwell with the tourist TDC. You're on the TDC. And this is a tourist attraction, and it should be marketed to them as such, and they have money that they could put towards this. But she is so into heads and beds. But if we take it from Bach Tower, like you just did, to this tower, to Gatorland, or whatever they call that. Yeah, I used to go by it every week, and now I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, if we could put that together, and we could try to get some heads and beds so Casey can sleep at night. But I think the TDC should have a role here, and we should stand up and say, hey, we're like Placid. This TDC, it's not all about the race. It's not all about Sebring, Casey. We need to have you think about our tower.
Are there stairs in it?
Yes.
So forget the elevator. You could, just like the Empire State Building and others, you can let people know that how many stairs are there to the top.
She went up the stairs.
Okay, Chief, I'm going to need your help on this one. So I had pictures that we had wanted to show. So there was a break-in, I don't know, a month ago, something like that. And the chief contacted me to tell me that they were getting ready. They had to go up all the way to the top because there was 2 individuals. They could only find 1. So true story. I grew up in Madison, Florida, right on the Florida-Georgia line. And I used to travel all the way to Fort Myers, and we would make stops as we came. We would stop in Sebring. I have an aunt who still lives here, and we would visit her. But we would always come this way before we headed over to Fort Myers, and we stopped at the tower. And we would eat in the restaurant. So for me, it holds a lot of meaning as well. But then after talking with Councilwoman Worley, then I find out I'm telling her about my Meemaw even got me this towel, the towel that was there, and explaining it, and the juice shop, and then find out that her family is the one that owned that. And then I moved to Okeechobee, and then I end up here in Lake Placid. So it holds a lot of sentimental value for even my childhood memories and traveling. And now I have my grandson who, as soon as he found out that we went to the top, was like, Mimi, I didn't get to go to the top. But we did get pictures, and Chief could tell you how many steps it is. And Stuart and Leanne can tell you that by the time we got to the 2nd and 3rd floor, we had to stop and pause. But the chief was running up and down it like it was nothing. So he knows how many steps there are, but the building is solid. Chief, you could probably speak to that a little bit more, and Stuart even could. It is solid. The elevator, the questions around the elevator really come from that it's an old elevator, and some of the experience I have seen with elevator replacement. Once they hit a certain year, you can no longer get the replacement parts for it anymore. This elevator is very outdated, and so those are some of the concerns that we have as far as if the town were to assume an active working elevator, is that elevator would have to be replaced. And then the other burden that the town would definitely have to look at is if we use the elevator as the liability and insurances, the insurance purposes because of risk. And so our finance director has already looked into that, and we do know that that would be a very big and difficult hurdle for us to have to jump over. So I'm just putting that out there. Chief, do you know how many steps?
I can tell you that day I wound up at 13,000 steps for the day. It was approximately 4,000 to 5,000 steps up to the top.
Yeah. It's a nice little
But
hike.
I don't hear anybody on council leaning towards we should own it, right? It's like, or we can help try to put the word out with others in some way, but unless I'm wrong, I'm not hearing any of us right now saying we should own it.
Just real quick, I just want to make sure that no matter what happens, everybody knows that the protection for Lake Clay runoff is in that parking lot, and whoever does it, whoever buys it or whatever happens, that is critical to keep Lake Clay in good shape. I just want everybody to remember that, and it's, right now, he's responsible for it. I don't want Lake Clay to get polluted.
So that, Charlotte, should be something as part of his sale, that
We
it's
just need to
known.
remember it, and then when he sells it, we just need to.
Wait a minute. Gary wants to speak. I think maybe he wants to buy it.
Sir? My name is Gary Freeman. My wife and I used to have a business there, and we know it quite well. And my thinking is, listening to everybody, is that it needs to be condemned in some legal manner. Period. You got to start somewhere.
Are you
And it
talking
needs to
the
be-
tower or the buildings?
Whatever is owned there,
Okay.
all of it, I don't, that's not up for me to decide, but it's, I don't know how many acres is there. Maybe 5, maybe 4, maybe more. That's like a poem. But the buildings itself are terrible. That's why we got out of there and moved somewhere else. And I could give you some horror stories about the buildings. You probably don't want to hear that, and this is a public forum. But it's pretty gory. But the thing is, it needs to be condemned. And if the property, the parking lot, and all that is part of that, then it needs to be part of that too. And now we're talking about a legal situation. So that's all I can say. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but it seems to me like it needs to be a legal thing that's done to make them do something. Sell it. I think the idea that you had is really good. You know, get it on the market, sell it. And it's a prime location. Everybody knows that. And they can still keep it for a drainage too, Deb. So it's good. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Okay.
I know, it's me again. In 1967, I worked for AT&T Bell Labs. AT&T Bellcom constructed that tower. Bellcom is their classified military contractor. You will not be able to take that tower down. You don't have explosives and could not get licenses for explosives that would take that tower down. So I think you're kind of stuck with it. Anybody wants to talk more about that, I can give your engineer some knowledge. Thank you.
So what's a consensus? I guess just
I
wait,
think we have a motion here.
wait till he comes and talk about options.
Right, so I will filter the information and the feedback back to him. I do want to say that he mentioned that if council is ready to say level the back, that he will entertain that. So he will be able to provide more information on that when he comes in August.
Well, I think that's probably a given. That probably needs to be done sooner than later. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the recommended motion that we were given is council to discuss and provide direction, which we did, on desired next steps, preferred outcomes for the tower property and the surrounding structures in advance of the August meeting. I think we just need to charge Charlotte with doing that, with meeting with him and telling him how we feel and have him come in August. So that's my motion, to have Charlotte be authorized to go and meet with him and have him come in August prepared to answer our questions.
If that's a motion, I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion second. Any further discussion? Audience? No, bring it back. Poll the council.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
All right, I think that was the last thing on my agenda. We'll now go to the town administrator.
Thank you. Just wanted to provide some updates. Tomorrow, from July 15th through the 17th, from 8 to 12, we have our training for First Amendment audit training, where town staff will be participating in that, along with other municipalities have been invited in, so that will take place tomorrow through 15th, 16th, and 17th. Also wanted to make announcement that next Monday, we do have our council meeting, and our auditors will be here to present. An update on the police department. Today, we received the bid advertisement, and so that will be advertised. The mandatory pre-bid conference on site will occur on Wednesday, July 30th at 10 a.m. here at Town Hall. And then we will be taking bids, sealed bids, until August 27th, 2025. So there will be more information to come on that. It unfolded, I spoke with Mason from Cool and Cobb right before we had our meeting. We are packaging up some of the finalized items that need to go out on the electronic bid system, and so as soon as that is completed, that will go live. On pickleball, we met with the contractors, and Kimley Horn has applied for the Swift Mud permit. It'll take about 3 months or so, give or take, to receive that, and once we do, then that project will be moving forward. We were asked if we were going out to bid. We are not going out to bid because Kimley Horn is in our library of list of contractors, so we have received the updated amounts, and there's, Eva, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that or not.
Yeah, they're on our library and Excavation Point and Nitty. Also will be piggyback contracts, so that'll fall
Eva has
through.
been helping project manage this project.
Out of my purview,
But she's doing it.
it's not easy.
For that much money, why wouldn't we go out for bids? I mean, I get it when you have smaller amounts, but if we're talking $450,000, why wouldn't we go out for bids?
They're in our library, so we don't.
I get that, I
So
mean,
we don't
people,
have to
but there
go out
might
to
be other providers that are more competitive that have never made it to the library.
Following the procurement policy, that we're just following the normal steps based off of our procurement policy and practices.
I have a question on, next Monday, we have the council meeting with the auditors. Is that not CRA as well?
CRA, I had that on my list. We have CRA on the agenda for August. So in our August town council meeting, we will have CRA, and then immediately after that, we will have our budget workshop, and CRA will be covered in that as well. So we will have
there's no CRA in July,
no CRA in July.
and it will be at the August town council meeting for
At-
CRA?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have the date for that?
It's the 21st, so next Monday. Oh, you mean the August meeting? I
So
apologize.
the CRA falls on your third Monday
Yep.
of the month, so it would be on August.
I was going to say it.
It's a week after the regular council meeting, so it would be on August 18th.
I just feel it's been such a long distance between our last CRA meeting.
Because they're quarterly now.
I think it's been longer than that, though.
They are, and we talked about this earlier, and on a reason why is because we are actively trying to prepare for the Caladium Festival, which leads to the next update is that TWQ has advised that they will start the work on the 21st, and he has assured us that it will be finished before the Caladium Festival. So in order for us to be able to get past the Caladium Festival we have staff shortages. Harry has recently lost an employee, and so in order for us to make sure we maintain everything as for the Caladium Festival, we will put it on August.
Okay.
Have the CRA meeting, and then also we'll have the budget workshop so that we can discuss what the plans are for CRA. I think that's all the updates I have right now.
Okay. I'll go to my staff, any department heads, got anything you would like to discuss? Any update on the sewer plant?
Let's move along on schedule.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, we'll start down here. Deborah?
I just wanted to say, these things just seem to happen, but they're not magical. They're very hard work. And Stewart Park is just looks so beautiful. Oh, it's just wonderful. I mean, it's all cleaned up, and it's just so well done. And I can't tell you how proud I am of our staff, that they've done such a great job. I have a brown thumb, so I could never do what you all have done. It's wonderful. Take a chance. I mean, before everybody gets down there and gets all the people there, yeah, take a look at that. So anyway, so that was my comments. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Joy?
Well, there's no one left here, but if anybody's listening, I want everybody to know that I do monitor the Facebook, like Lake Placid Live and the other places, and I monitor the Nextdoor app. And even though I don't comment, it's because I can't comment because of sunshine law, but I want everybody to know that I read through all of the threads and I'm listening.
Okay. No?
I want to compliment the town staff as well. I, heaven forbid, walk around Devane Circle in the wee hours of the morning from time to time with a deranged friend who thinks that walking at 6 o'clock in the morning is a good idea. And it really looks beautiful. It looks really great. I don't get up to Stewart Park because it's uphill from where we are at Devane, but it really looks nice. And I know that you will get to mowing the graveyard when you can. I have not had any complaints yet, knock on wood, and I'm not making any complaints because I know you're incredibly stressed. So, and I feel bad that some person way well above me and my husband chose to plant 2 green palms on some of our grave sites, and they are just a mess, and you can't help that, so I don't lose any sleep over it.
We mow the cemetery every week. It comes back that tall that fast.
Oh, I know, it's that grass, it's the type of grass that you have that makes that shoot, that bahia, it's wicked, but you're doing a great job, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Charlotte, I think, is it a shout out to DOT for getting the Dale Hall open sooner than not? I mean, I thought it was going to be a lot longer. I guess time flies by, is that it, or they got it done
It was
faster?
supposed to be 21 days.
That's what I thought too, so
They got it done a lot
I
quicker.
think that's a pleasant welcome.
That was awesome.
And it actually was managed very good with that detour and everything like that, so, you know, just pass that on to them, that we recognize that.
I understand now they're going to move across the street and do Tower Street.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they're going to do the same thing there.
And I think they're going to try to lessen the grade on Tower Street so it won't be so steep when you come up there.
Let's hope
That's
so.
my understanding.
Okay.
So your Corvette won't bottom out when you come through there now. And then in addition to appreciation of staff, I'd like to give a shout out to Rachel and the finance staff, because not just the day-to-day, but the audit and what they're going through. I know with the audit, preparing for the budget, just to get the packet of this, the millage proposals and that. So it's not missed that you guys work really hard, and we really do appreciate the work that you put together. And please pass that on to the staff, because I know it's a big team effort, you know, for all of you. And I'll probably say it next month, because then we're going to start the budget, right? And it's a time that just doesn't let up for the finance staff. So appreciate all your hard work and your expertise and your experience.
And council,
Nothing further, sir.
I want everybody to, let's give him a round of applause for being here. We appreciate him coming. And don't you think he's better looking than Bert?
Without a doubt. There's no discussion.
His feelings are crushed.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
No, we really appreciate you when you step in.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome anytime.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
One comment I've had several people ask me about the dead palm tree by the flagpole. I talked to Harry, and he had been working with DOT trying to get them to remove it, because we're trying to go with the fact that there was no sprinkling system, so that's what killed the tree. But because all the other trees are alive, that didn't work. So we are in the process now of trying to get one of our local contractors to come in and take that down before it becomes a problem. So to those out there that have had half-asked questions, it is being resolved. I just can't tell you at this time when. All right, any other? Yeah, yes. Talked to Billy Brantley, and I guess they're working on that for us. So hopefully we'll have an answer pretty quick. Okay, all right. Any other comments that come before town council? You're off. You're off.
We have a familiar face back here, and so I wanted to say that it's good to see him in the audience and feeling better. So Gibby, we're glad you're back.
Oh, okay.
Welcome back, Gibby.
All right, if there's no other business to come for town council,